Testing. Does this work? Let's try that. Hello, everyone. Well, this is kind of cute, actually. Are we doing this? We're doing this. Hi, everyone. Welcome to my little rooftop. I gotta do a video explaining all of this. Actually, I wouldn't as well, but whatever. Today, I just wanted to share my thoughts on an amazing experience I had just over a week ago. I went to see Ray Chen live at San Francisco Symphony. Ray Chen is an incredible, famous violinist, arguably one of the best violinists around today. Saw that he was coming to San Francisco to perform, I was like, I have to go to this. About to see Ray Chen at SF Symphony. So excited. This is my first concert since, I don't know, it feels like a million years, classical music concert. And this is so exciting. Let's freaking go. The concert was amazing. Actually had 3 encores, had so much fun, but I actually had a few kind of interesting takeaways from it, not just about Ray Chen's playing, but just, I don't know, I guess thoughts on some classical music stuff in general. So just want to share. So the first is about the accessibility of Ray Chen and his playing. So I think that one thing that Ray Chen does incredibly well, and that I heard from even just his performances on YouTube and stuff like that, is I feel like he's just very accessible to an audience. Like with his body language, his style of playing, even his facial expressions, I feel like you really can get to know kind of what he's feeling or what he's thinking, kind of, and almost bring you along for the ride. And I don't think that's the case necessarily for all musicians, and I don't think that that's the way you have to do it. I'm just saying that it's a really nice part about Ray Chen's playing. I would say that for a lot of, at least I guess in my opinion, with a lot of classical music, especially kind of older periods like classical or Baroque period, it can be pretty inaccessible to the extent that you don't, maybe you don't know exactly what you're supposed to be feeling, or the exact vibe or whatever. I don't know, sometimes I find it inaccessible. But when I'm watching Ray Chen play Beethoven, I'm just okay, he's bringing you along for the ride. I feel like I'm just right there with him, if that makes sense. It's just kind of easier to understand to some extent than I've seen with other musicians. And I actually think that this accessibility is mirrored in Ray Chen as an artist and as a person, it seems like to me. Okay, I don't know all the details about Ray Chen, but it's just from my perception of it, right? Because they even mentioned in the bio for the concert that he's a very modern 21st century musician in the sense that he's kind of connecting some of the older traditional kind of classical music with modern stuff, right? With social media and with YouTube and all that. Even I was just looking at his YouTube channel, and he has all these fun videos, reaction videos and collabs and all this stuff, which I don't think that many, I mean maybe more and more, but not that many classical musicians are doing that, or doing that very successfully. And he's just very accessible, right? You can kind of get to know him as a person easily with just a few YouTube videos, right? It seems like he's trying to make music more accessible to everyone. And so I just found that was really interesting, because I find his playing to be very accessible, kind of emotionally or whatever. And then it seems like as a person, he is also very accessible and also making music more accessible. So I think that that's an incredible thing that Ray Chen is bringing to music and our world, and that's awesome. Okay, second takeaway I had is that violin and classical music in general maybe, but especially violin, is just so hard. Ray Chen pretty much, he's playing almost as perfectly as you can get it, right? But he's not playing completely perfectly. And I guess when I say perfect, there's no such thing as perfect music, whatever, but I guess at least even just technique wise, right? Zero wrong intonation notes, and whatever, nothing's off. You can't really clock him pretty much almost anything, but you you notice like a little small thing here or there, and I just made me realize like, wow, this music is just, you can't be perfect at it. You know what I mean? You can get close to it, and people like him and other violinists and musicians do classical music, but you just can't be perfect, which is kind of wild. And that actually reminds me of why something I really didn't like about violin, and it carries over to viola as well, which is what I play now. But especially violin, like it takes so long to even sound halfway decent, it feels like, or just not be playing wrong notes all the time or whatever. And then, but even when you're at the highest level, it's like you can never be completely perfect. Like it's just so hard. It also kind of reminds me of, I was watching some interview, I think, or masterclass or something with Itzhak Perlman, and he was saying how, you know, all these guys, right, like including him, are like child prodigies. So you're playing the Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto since you were 12, 13 years old, right? And you're playing it well even already. But he was saying how there were some passages, I don't remember exactly which one, but it's like, no matter how much you practice it, no matter how much older you get, it's always going to be uncomfortable. That's just how it is. It's just that hard. And of course, it's going to be applied to so many different pieces, whatever. But that's just how it is, and it's always going to be difficult. And that's pretty much, I mean, yeah, that'll be the case for everyone, right? Like, doesn't matter how amazing you are, there'll be some things that are just going to be hard, and it might not be completely perfect. And so I think that's pretty amazing and hard to kind of wrap my mind around almost. My third takeaway, I don't know if it's like a takeaway, but just kind of like an interesting thing I thought about, was like, it's amazing that, like, you know, Ray Chen just had a violin, and then there's a pianist there. There's no symphony or anything. And just these two people, two instruments, how they can make magic and captivate an audience like they have. It's crazy to me because, right, because like growing up as a musician, you go to recitals all the time, right? Go to the piano recital, then you go to the violin recital, and then it's like a violin and piano accompaniment, whatever. And it's the same, it's like literally the same thing as that, except for like, obviously like older and like way better and all of that. And in like a big hall and whatever, and more people are watching, but it's like the same exact thing. I guess this can be said for anything like music or sports, right? Like thinking about like, you know, soccer, you play in your backyard and you're playing on a big stage or something like that. Like, I guess it's the same thing, but I think it's just pretty incredible how that, like, you can just make magic from something as simple as that. Almost doesn't need a huge production. It didn't even look like there was a microphone. There probably was. Like, I'm not even sure if there was any kind of microphone. Anyways, I thought it was really great. Anyways, so that's just kind of some of the thoughts I had. It was ooh. It was so fun going to that concert. Hope I can go to more classical music concerts. Yeah, it was great. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want me to make more videos about music, classical music. We'll see what happens. So anyways, yeah, bye.
We would love to play for you a little extra something. This is, you'll recognize the theme, no doubt. One of the most beautiful melodies ever written for violin. Theme from Schindler's List by John Williams. Thank you.